Good morning. I am so blessed to be here today and so happy that you are here to share some time with me. Today, we are going to be focusing on holiday guilt and how it helps us heal. My name is Robin Lee. I'm a medical intuitive in California. I've been in practice for over 32 years. My job is to help people understand how their lifestyle choices, their emotions affect their physical and emotional health and well-being. We're not in a culture that teaches that enough, in my opinion. We're oftentimes taught that this or that medicine can fix this or that issue. The idea is, though, we keep asking, why are we feeling the way we're feeling? What can we change in our life or in our lifestyle and see if it makes a difference? And most of the time, to people's shock and surprise, it makes a huge difference. So it's very common in the healing process. I was taught actually in the healing process from one of my first mentors that when you start to feel guilt, that's a good sign because it means that you're anchoring into yourself. It means that you're connecting into yourself. Guilt is a very powerful emotion, and a lot of us have been very manipulated through guilt for a lot of our life, and we don't even realize it. We're also afraid oftentimes to make people unhappy. Sometimes we're afraid to really honor what we want because we weren't taught that that was okay. Sometimes we were taught that we asked too many questions. Sometimes we were taught that maybe we were selfish if we had our own opinion or if we had our own mindset somehow. And I want to take this time just to remind each and every one of you that guilt is an important process to feel and to work through. So, for example, if you watched last week's video, in part of the video, I was sharing about how important it is to be able to connect in and to be able to ask yourself before you set up the holiday plans, what would bring me joy? And when people come to you and ask you to do something, please remind yourself that you would love to be able to create joy. And does this help create a feeling of joy? Another thing that I mentioned is it's not all or nothing. So it's not go to the party or go to the family event or don't go. But maybe you go for less time. Maybe you figure something else out where you can see someone at a different time this holiday season. What is it that would bring you joy? Now, to some people, that would actually create guilt just asking them that question. Holidays are so traditional for a lot of people, and when I started learning to do this work, I started understanding how sometimes traditions aren't actually our friend because they're not things that we really feel in our heart we want to do. There's almost an obligation to do them. And being an intuitive support and working as a medical intuitive, it really opened my heart and mind to sometimes the damage that holidays can actually contribute in our healing process. Every moment gives us an opportunity to heal and be kind to yourself, number one. I think so many of us, again, are taught to be kind to others, to treat others like you would want to be treated. But what we forget about is how are we treating ourselves? So if we're saying yes to everything and we're saying yes out of fear or guilt, that's not coming from a heartfelt place. That's coming from a place of obligation and obviously fear. That's not going to lead us into joy. That's going to lead us into exhaustion. It's going to lead us into places where it feels very stressed and overwhelmed. And stress and overwhelm create negative habits, meaning if we're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, we might need more alcohol. We might feel more of a pull to have more coffee, more energy. We might have more emotional foods like sugar foods just to kind of get through. Life isn't about getting through. And I think that I'm just wanting to remind you all of that. The holiday season is a beautiful time of healing. The holiday season is a beautiful time of paying attention to what you're creating and remembering that every day in your life is a gift. And not only is every day a gift, but you're a gift. And when you feel a certain way, that becomes a gift when you honor how you're organically feeling. This is a really important thing to think about and to really give it some heartfelt insight and space to be able to explore for yourself. How can you, for yourself, create holiday joy? How can you create more joy for yourself this holiday season? And it's giving yourself this space to know that you're worthy of creating joy and not to just default into what everybody else expects or maybe even what you expect of yourself. question why it is that way. Ask yourself, is that really what I want to do this year, or would I like to do it different? And know that you're absolutely capable of making it different. But this is the thing. When you start treading on a different path and you start doing things in a different way, and even sometimes just thinking differently, there's this wall that comes up. And the wall is normally fear and guilt. So if you understand that, we don't want guilt to govern how we make choices in life. We want to make sure that we're feeling connected inside. And people oftentimes don't love when we make that be our guiding light in our life, that we're allowing joy to become a guiding light in our life. They don't necessarily love that because it means that we're changing how things have been for a long time for us and what's been navigating our ship in the healing process and in life for a very, very long time. It's really fun to watch, though, the gratitude that pops up when people do start allowing joy to navigate the ship. I have a client years ago that comes to mind, and we were talking on the phone, and she got actually pretty sick. And she was getting the flu of that particular year. And she's like, I just don't understand. I'm taking all my supplements, this and that. And if you didn't watch last week's video, make sure to check it out. Make sure to follow and subscribe so you get notification when we do launch a new video. Because I'm trying to help you all understand more and more how your choices affect your life, how you feel, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And it's no joke. And most people just don't understand. So the more that you hear the messaging, the more things will normally start to make sense and inspire change, which inspires growth. So if you want to do something differently, it could ruffle some people's feathers. And if it ruffles some people's feathers, the idea is that you're allowing yourself to kind of talk about what's going on for you and why something doesn't create joy and how you can maybe support a difference, which is, like I talked about last week, not focusing so much on all or nothing, black or white, going or not going, but finding that middle groove and middle ground for yourself. Give yourself permission to say yes to joy. And I promise you, most people have fear around that, or a lot of guilt when it starts to come up. And understanding what the dialogue is, where this pattern came from inside, is a really important thing to understand. As you allow yourself to focus on and to create and collect moments and do the things that you actually love, your life will change. Your heart will hold a different level of positive energy. Your vibrations around you, which are your aura or the energy you're surrounding and connecting to in your own personal space, will be more vibrant and more full of life because you're allowing yourself to create a life that you love. So the client I was telling you about got super sick, and this was about a week before her holiday, which was Christmas for her. And she was going to have like 35 people over and was doing the whole Christmas dinner. And she's in her 70s. And she's like, I just don't want to do that. And I said, well, did it ever occur to you that maybe your body is wanting to support you in what you genuinely do want? But I just feel so guilty. I said, well, what parts of the meal do you love participating in or having? And she goes, like maybe making, the turkey, or she goes, yeah, that's about it. But I love having my house as a way of being able to invite people to come. And I said, well, has it ever occurred to you to maybe just ask people to bring side dishes, whatever their favorite side dishes are? She goes, well, yeah, but I make the family recipes. And I said, well, maybe it's a beautiful gift that you can give and pass the torch down to someone by sharing your recipe with them and letting them bring it to the table. I got a phone call after the holiday, so she reset. Her body healed pretty quickly from that experience. She was ready for the holiday. She did exactly as I maybe put out there to potentially do, and did it exactly to what would bring her joy for herself. And I got the most beautiful call after, and she said it was the most beautiful holiday. And she said, if I didn't know better, I would say that people actually felt better that they were contributing, supporting, and helping. And I said, absolutely, 100%. We love knowing that we can contribute. We love knowing that we can help. We love knowing that we can support. But the thing is that a lot of times we just go along doing things the way that we've been taught to do them. We do the same thing year after year after year after year. And I don't mean to say this in a rude or negative way, but newsflash, if you're doing the same thing the same way, you're not the same person every year. So logic is what brings you joy 2 years ago probably isn't going to bring you the same joy today or at the same level. Or maybe it will, but it's worth the question of, will this bring me joy, or what will bring me joy? And as you ask that, you want to know in your heart that guilt will raise its interesting face. And knowing how to connect in and work through that is a really important factor. And the first way of working through that is by allowing yourself to understand that that's the indicator that you're connecting to yourself when you do feel guilt. You are a very kind, very loving person, and it's critical you remind yourself of who you are. When you live life in your own heart and on your own path and creating in your heart what knows brings you joy, will guilt come up? Absolutely. Will some people push back? Absolutely. Respond with kindness, respond with curiosity, open up questions and be truthful. This part of it doesn't bring me joy. I don't want to do that part anymore. I don't want to be there for that long. It doesn't bring me joy. And in time, at first, people's feathers might get ruffled, but in the long run, people will have inspiration because you're coming from a kind-hearted place. Now, if you come and you push back and you're angry and you start yelling, obviously that's not going to connect into joy. So it's holding yourself accountable to creating a joyful experience for yourself. One moment at a time and one day at a time. You never get these moments back. You never get these moments back. So I'll hear stories about people and they're talking about their siblings or their mom or their dad or their stepdad or a coworker, what a jerk they are and how they can act up and this and that. Or how after a certain period of time, the holidays kind of go south because alcohol's kicked in. Perhaps consider removing yourself for a period of time when you know that's starting to creep in. Consistently work on holding joy close to your heart. People reset to a negative level oftentimes and they don't know how to set themselves back up. And moving through guilt in honoring what feels good to you is a critical piece of the healing journey. That does not make you sick. That does not make you a bad person. That does not make you a narcissist. It means that you're allowing yourself to explore what brings joy to you instead of hoping it's going to come in any given day. So for me, I wake up in the holidays, I wake up day by day and I'm full of joy inside because I'm saying yes to things that bring me joy. And I'm figuring out other middle ground areas and I communicate with people when something doesn't bring me joy to figure out other solutions. That's truly the key process. And the beautiful part of that is it seldom goes sour. It's just we're not comfortable communicating. We're not comfortable saying, can we do it differently? Or this part doesn't bring me joy. Who wants to do this part? We're not comfortable doing that for some reason. And a lot of times it's fear and it's guilt. So this is the coolest part of the puzzle. When you communicate in an open-hearted way, it's okay if you don't have the confidence that you know how to do that right now. It's okay. You don't have to make any changes. Just let these seeds kind of simmer in your heart and in your mind. That for you to create a joyful life is kind of the only way that you're going to actually truly enjoy your life. And the holidays are a lot of cool practice around that, but it can be kind of hard because we do revert oftentimes or default into kind of negative habits sometimes, overwhelming habits, and just kind of old familiar kind of habits. So be kind to yourself this holiday season. Be kind to others this holiday season. The number one way to create joy is finding a way to be kind to yourself and to others. So if someone around you isn't being appropriate, how can you be kind to yourself? How can you create joy for yourself in that moment? Perhaps you go for a walk. Perhaps you remove yourself from the situation. Perhaps you go and get a cup of tea and just enjoy the moment with someone else in that moment. How can you support yourself? Most of us don't ask that question. Most of us just react to what's happening in front of us. And if you guys really want to heal and you really want to learn how to create joy, you have to be willing to walk through guilt, through shame, through fear. And the more that you allow yourself to have the courage to learn how to communicate, to be curious, and to connect with confidence, it's a life-changing experience that will inspire every single person around you, because you're not walking on eggshells. You'll learn how to healthily communicate. But most importantly, this holiday season, be kind and spread kindness. Kindness doesn't mean you keep yourself silenced and do things out of guilt, and just be passive and do what everybody else wants you to do. Take care of yourself this holiday season. Fuel yourself well. Get rest, exercise. Try not to consume too many processed foods in every single week and day, because those things just lower your immunity. And then that doesn't create joy. Enjoy this holiday season and allow yourself to really let this kind of sink in, that as you're connecting into your own healing space in your heart, one of the biggest markers of that is you will feel shame, you will feel fear, you will feel guilt. Don't stop there and revert back to behavior. Take big, deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, and get excited, because that means you're getting ready to change. You may not know how to do it moving forward quite yet. Don't worry about that. Just get excited that you're exploring and you've hit that place of understanding, oh, wow, I'm feeling obligated here. Was I feeling ashamed? Was I feeling afraid? Or was I feeling guilt? Or was I feeling a combination of all of them? You're going to like that and give that space to listen to. You are incredible. You are a light to this world. And you are the only one that can create more joy in your life for yourself. And when you create more joy for yourself, it extends out to your whole community. The more people that understand how to do this in a loving, kind way, it's not an aggressive way, it's not a push away kind of way, it's with an open heart and an open energy. And when you're open-hearted with an open energy, seldom does it go negatively. Happy holidays to each and every one of you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so below. That way you get notifications and you won't miss any of this awesome content.